The historic conviction of Virginia's former first couple on corruption charges is being called a game changer for ethics in Virginia. ABC 7 Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Jeff Goldberg is just back from Richmond. Jeff joins us with what's next for the McDonald's and Virginia. Jeff?
Well, Maureen, citizens and politicians alike in Virginia often pride themselves on clean and civilized government, not associated with corruption cases that seem to come up somewhat frequently in states like Louisiana or Illinois. Now, the McDonald's were convicted in federal court, and the crimes would not have been illegal under Virginia law. Critics say that is just the problem. The day after the decision,
well, I think it was a just verdict.
The stunning fall of the McDonald's remains raw.
I just think it's incredibly sad.
I do feel for them. I absolutely feel for them.
Kathleen Carmody is one of the 5 women and 7 men who spent 3 days painfully deliberating the McDonald's fate. She says jurors were convinced by the prosecution's meticulous presentation of evidence and witness testimony, repeatedly connecting the McDonald's to the bribery scheme with Johnny Williams. Jurors ultimately did not buy the central argument from the defense, that the McDonald's marriage was too broken to conspire in the crime.
I did not feel it was broken to the point that it was being portrayed to me.
This was a conviction of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Professor Frank Shafroth with George Mason University School of Law says the verdict speaks to Virginians demanding change.
Ethics laws in Virginia have to be tightened severely.
And sends a message to politicians across the country. The Justice Department will vigorously pursue public corruption, even in cases like the McDonald's, where circumstances were more gray than black and white.
We don't care what your local ordinance is. We don't care what your state law is. If you're abusing the public trust, that's our job, and we will nail you.
There was a lot of talk about ethics changes during last year's General Assembly, but no major changes took place. Professor Shafroth says it's going to be different this time around after the conviction. He believes there's no doubt the General Assembly will have to take a hard look at ethics changes during next year's session. Meanwhile, attorneys for both Bob and Maureen McDonald say they plan to appeal yesterday's verdict, and that cannot happen until after sentencing, which is set for early January. Jeff Goldberg, ABC 7 News.
Thank you, Jeff. Bob McDonald may lose more than his freedom when he's sentenced in January. Virginia government employees convicted of a felony tied to their time in office can lose their pensions. That's thanks to legislation that McDonald himself signed into law in 2011.